With the exciting United States Grand Prix in the books and an exciting season so far, we go to Mexico City for the Mexican Grand Prix. With that, lights out. Welcome aboard another edition of the F1 Starting Grid. I'm Brock Young with, I can't believe I left the names on there, Mike, the points leader, Allen. Welcome aboard. Oh my God. Well, Mike, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. Another race weekend, man. Mexican Grand Prix. Looks like the weather's going to keep us inside, so up here anyway.
Yep. Well, it's going to be exciting. I always enjoy that track. I know so many people don't, but I like, especially going in that stadium part. In fact, I was hoping that we're going to have an announcement later on at the end of the show, by the way. But I want to, if this situation, we're going to our picks here in a minute, but if the situation ever arises that if Sergio Perez passes anybody, but if the situation arises that Sergio Perez passes Lewis Hamilton in that stadium section, you'll probably get an earthquake. We feel up here in Austin.
Basically. Oh, that'll be crazy. That'll be absolutely nuts. I hope he finishes on the podium.
Me too.
Just for the sake of it.
Well, speaking about that, other than Lewis Hamilton at Silverstone and Max pretty much at the Netherlands or even Spa, pretty much everybody's home race doesn't really end up well. You got Vettel when they're racing in Germany at the time, didn't finish too well, either with Red Bull or Ferrari. You have Charles at Monaco, never finished well over there. Fernando Alonso in Spain never finished well as Carlos. So normally the home race is not really that good for the home player. And but by God, Red Bull, I mean, we talked about this last week. They pushed it in Austin. They've been pushing it all season. And Max has been very dominant. And in at least in the contention to win every single race so far this season. And Sergio has been proving himself the last couple races. So it's going to be very interesting. Well, you see this past weekend and last week you had Ricardo and Charles in Las Vegas. I think they're pretty much sober up now. But you had Lewis Hamilton in New York and a couple others in New York. Even though they went down there to film stuff for Red Bull, Max and Sergio went down there early, I think last week, to Mexico and Mexico City. I think they have, because of that, they even have the advantage on that track.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, Max won there, I think, in 17 and 18. He won both times over there. So I think he has the advantage going into Mexico. What do you think there, Mike?
Yeah, I think he does. And even though the car is a little bit slower than Mercedes, I think they've been it's just fast enough to where if they plan well and they have a good race strategy and they time their pit stops, which is what they've been doing,
Mm-hmm.
He's got the skill to push everything out of that car that he can to stay out front if he gets out front. Now, he does better when he gets out front and he's alone. He doesn't do as well when he's caught back behind in the pack because he gets a little too frustrated and aggressive, I think, and he doesn't do well when he mixes up with Hamilton for some reason. Hamilton comes out of those things unscathed and Max ends up in a wall. But if he can get out ahead and then just like he's been doing, like he did here in the United States, if he can get his pit stops lined out, no safety car to bunch everybody up, I think he's got a really good shot. I mean, I'm going to pick him again.
Well, I think the only time
he's got the momentum. He's got the momentum. Right. I mean, Hamilton had the start out way back in the field, the race before because of an engine change, and then in the United States Grand Prix, it was just that one little mistake, or it could have been a different race. With 4 laps left, he lost his back end, and that was it. It knocked a half second off his pace time, and put him just far enough behind Verstappen where he couldn't recover that second. So that was a close, tight race, but I think it's going to come down to, I don't know what the weather's going to be like. I know the weather's raining right now here with us, but if we have a bunch of safety cars and it's bunching up the field, it could be a totally different race, and Max is going to have his hands full.
Well, absolutely. I think the only time that Max was able to pass Lewis successfully, not with ease, but at least successfully, was in France.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the end of the race there, and because in the situation, because of the tires and the pit stop, and if it wasn't for that, I think Lewis would have had it. But
well, I was just Googling the last time a Mexican driver won the Mexican Grand Prix, and Pedro Rodriguez, the most successful one that's popped up outside of Sergio Perez, and I don't think anybody from Mexico's won the Mexican Grand Prix. Let me search it a different way here.
Why you do that? It's going to be just overcast this weekend in Mexico City, high 73 with a 10% chance of rain. So it's going to be pretty much like Austin.
Yeah. It's going to be great weather. That's good. That'll be down to pure racing.
Yeah. And also to that point about the Mexican drivers, the highest Sergio finish in the Mexican Grand Prix was 7th, back-to-back years. And granted, he was in a lesser car than he is now, but I don't know. It's just hard to predict, the local race. I mean, because he wants to perform well for the fans there, so that puts added pressure to him. And I guess the anxiety and stuff like that of performing in front of your home fans just gets to you, and you don't perform that well. But I don't know. But I tell you what, while you look that up.
So this is interesting. I didn't know this. Hold on. There hasn't been that many Mexican Grand Prix.
No.
They kind of miss years in there. They've been spread out. There's a big gap between 1992 and looks like 2015.
Yep.
Yeah, so there hasn't been, no Mexican has ever won the Mexican Grand Prix. The winners are Jim Clark from Great Britain won it in 62, 63, and 67. Alain Prost won it 88 and 90. Nigel Mansell and his great championship runs of 87 and 92. And Max Verstappen won it in 2017 and 18, and Hamilton won it in 16 and 19. So Hamilton and Verstappen have went back and forth. Yep. So 17 Verstappen, 17 and 18, or 16 was Hamilton, 17, 18 was Verstappen, and 19 was Lewis Hamilton. And of course, last year they didn't have one during COVID. So, I thought this was like a race that's been around. It's been around a while. It's just been, there's big gaps where they didn't have a race at all.
Well, with that, let's move on to picks. I'll give Chaz's right quick. Of course, he's going to have the same until the end in the season, that is. And that's going to be Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, and on third place, Valtteri Bottas. That's his podium. And
so he's given up?
He's pretty much given up, yeah.
What the hell, man? You know why? Because I am.
You know what? I'm not going to display that anymore. Oh no, I'll put it back on. Never mind. And Vettel will finish in the top 7. That's going to be his extra pick. So the points leader, who's going to be on your podium this weekend?
I'm going to stick with Verstappen, and I think Hamilton's going to be right up there with him. But I'm going to stick. I've had some pretty good luck with these 3 picks, and I think I'm going to stick with this race. I think Perez is going to be he's going to be emotionally vested in this race. So you know what? I'm going to put Verstappen, Perez, and I want to pick Perez to win it all because he's got the car and he's a good driver. If he can get a good qualifying, if he can be in like the first 3 rows in qualifying, or first 2 rows in qualifying. Verstappen, Perez, Hamilton.
That's a little change up from what you normally do.
Yeah, I usually have Perez third, but I think Perez is going to be. I think him and Hamilton. I think he's going to be back there battling with Hamilton, and he'll make the podium. It would be cool if he won the whole thing, though. I'm going to root for him to win the whole thing, but
he deserves it, though. He deserves to win it.
Well, it would be great for the sport. It would be great for him, and it would be great for the country of Mexico, and just. I think it would be a great feel-good story if he was able to have a good race, a competitive race, and if he comes out on top, it's going to be pretty cool.
And what's your extra prediction this weekend, your wild card?
That Haas will show up. That they will field the car start. No. The biggest disappointment is how far Williams has fallen off here in these last couple of races. I thought they were really on track to, stay up in the midfield, but I would like to see Lando in the top 5.
Mm.
And he could podium.
He could very much well.
Because McLaren's right there. They're knocking on the door. Ferrari's been inconsistent, but hanging around, but McLaren's been the most consistent.
Well, I thought you and I will have the same picks this week because I'm going with your old picks, and that's Max, Lewis, and Perez. Oh, Checo there, 1, 2, and 3. And honestly, I think Gasly will make a comeback after DNF in last race, and he'll finish in the top 10. So we'll see. So I'm kind of glad we have different picks now, so it'll be a little more competitive now. You may extend your lead. I may catch up. Who knows? Or Chaz may come from behind and just take us all out. I don't know.
Go ahead and put the updated points up there. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Go ahead.
I don't even have it saved yet, man.
How convenient.
How convenient. Oh, dear God. I can't believe I'm going to do this. Hold on. It'll take me a couple minutes to download it here, but I'll do it for you. Because you're the points leader. You're the points leader. But
I don't know how long it's going to last. I got lucky in those weeks that I was kind of not here, and you were picking for me.
Well, you gave me.
I was far enough ahead that was enough damage control.
Well, you're the one that gave me the picks. You text me. It's like, I want to have so and so in certain races. So it's like, okay.
For one week I did, and I think the other 2 you picked for me, or picked my last picks, or I don't know.
I don't remember.
Who knows?
While we wait for this download, I posed to you last week, Mike, that will Williams finish in the top 10, 3 out of the remainder 5 races? So the question to you, do you want to take that bet?
No.
I don't blame you.
It fell off. I mean, if they would have been at least the last 2 races they were down, there was Haas again. I mean, they went right back to where they started. So, I don't have any faith that whatever they were doing right that they're going to continue to do. I know they had a death in their racing family. I don't know if that's going to affect them anyway. I don't know. I think it's getting to the point now where I think maybe these teams are trying to save as much money as they can, knowing that it's going to be an even playing field next year, and kind of, they might have just gave up and said, look, it's a Honda Mercedes deal. And, I'm not sure how the sponsorship goes or the money, but I know the new owners of Williams are they're okay. They're not, they're not fighting for funding. So they might have just said, you know what, we're losing our driver. He doesn't care anymore. We'll save our money till next year. That might be what's going on. I hate to see that happen though, because I have a lot of respect for Russell, and I'm a fan. So I would have liked to have seen him help bring Williams back to some sort of prominence, but we'll see. It's all gonna be different next year.
Oh yeah, it will be.
It'll be a whole different ball game. It'll be exciting for sure.
Well, on that note, we'll talk about this in a second, but I can't believe I'm even going to do this, but
This way.
Just to please you.
Hell yeah. What does the winner get anyway?
Nothing.
An inflated ego? Is that what we're doing? To be unbearable?
I think the last place is fighting for the Mazepin Award.
What we need more people to be in that. We need more people in that. I think next year, if we can find a way to get our fans involved, get a share file or something. You sign up in the beginning, and we'll do something like a barbecue plate or something for the winner. Something simple. Something simple. They can unthrone the champion, the campion.
Well, right quick, our Twitter question of last week, we asked, will Andrade actually purchase their own F1 team since their deal with Alfa Romeo and / Sauber went south? Actually, 60% of you guys said no. They will not purchase a new team whatsoever. With that, though, I want to pose this idea in question because apparently other teams like Haas, like actually Dalton Capital, that's why they purchased Williams, and other teams like McLaren and all that, see an upside in years to come with the salary and spending cap. That we pointed this out last week, that there's opportunity for each team. Not all of them will do this, but opportunity for each team to be successful and make money in recent years to come. So that's why I suggested that Andrade go on their own and purchase their own team. And that's why I said before, Dalton Capital purchased Williams. They see an upside in purchasing that team. And I'm glad they did it, because if not, I think they probably would have went under, period. But your thoughts on that, Mike?
I would think that Andretti is probably going on to plan B. He wants to be back in F1. So it may not be next year, but again, with the changes in F1 and the level playing field and the spending cap and all that stuff, it's going to be it's not the same game. So even though Saba fell through, that might have been a blessing, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm still looking at, go talk to Ford or go talk to Mopar. Go talk to Chevy. Chevy's half the Indy cars, so they've already got the technology and the, even though Indy cars and F1 cars are different, are they really though? That much different? So that would be cool to see Chevy or Ford or Mopar get into the mix, and that would be a good good way to bring Ford back into the F1 racing. To be honest.
And I also said this.
I like that Ford Cogsworth era.
Oh yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
I want to see more teams involved in F1. The max on the grid is 13 teams, 26 drivers. That opens the door for new opportunities, more Formula 3, Formula 2, even American drivers to come in and race for F1. And to the argument of not having enough sponsorships, not having enough money, it is too expensive to be in F1. That is true. But it is now becoming a little more affordable for teams to get into F1. And that was my argument, that Andrade could be the 11th team into Formula One. Maybe, as you said, maybe not next year, maybe the year after or the year after that. And just also keep in mind that Volkswagen is very much a possibility of coming in 2025. So that opens even more doors here real soon. So just exciting opportunities. I always love to play the game what if. So
Well, and Volkswagen could lead to Mopar, because Volkswagen and Chrysler and Volkswagen are basically,
well, you figure Diamond Mopar had a relationship with both Ferrari and with Mercedes in the last 20 to 30 years.
Yeah.
So, but that also opens new relationships too. The technology these cars have in the last 10, 20 years helped develop the cars on the road now with modern technology, with modern safety equipment. So even though it's a very big risk, a gamble for being in F1, there's an upside to that too. And that Mercedes saw it. Honda saw it for a little while.
And a lot of people don't realize that pretty much everything that we enjoy on our family cars comes from the technology born from racing.
Yeah.
The limited slip differential, the independent rear suspension, the disc brakes, the hydraulic brakes, the power steering, even though they don't use power steering in racing much anymore. That was an innovation of racing, was the power steering. Turbocharge, the V configuration in the engines instead of the straight configuration. All that stuff comes from fuel injection. All that comes from racing. So everything that we enjoy and all the cars that we drive comes from the innovations born from the racetrack, and whatever, F1, Mopar, NASCAR, enduro races, all of it. So,
in fact, to your point there, Mike, the power steering and ABS were two innovations from the early 90s of Williams.
That is correct. Yeah, I didn't know you knew that.
And then the FIA came in and said, no, we're doing away with that. So,
well, not only was that an innovation of Williams, another innovation of Williams was the car that would self-correct that Senna was driving, that they outlawed, where he could just drive and the car did all the thinking for him, the adjustment on the suspension. That's what's on all their luxury cars now. When you drive over bumps and it doesn't feel like, and the car stays nice and still, that came out of the Williams racing innovations with the onboard computer that they've now banned, but because it just made them too fast. But that was the Williams 1992. 1992.
Yep.
And he was just smoking everybody because his car didn't rock when he went around the corner. It stayed steady because the computer balanced out the suspension to make sure the car stayed perfectly level on the road, which enhanced the airflow and the downforce, which made it a faster car. And you could just turn around a corner. And if you look at the old films of him ripping around the racetrack, I mean, there was nobody even close because they could not. Their car, they had to adjust, and his car was stuck right to the road and perfectly level the whole time. And that innovation now is in our luxury cars and everything else. So,
And our last topic of the day, we're like 3 weeks late with this, by the way, so I'm sorry about this, but the new 2022 calendar came out. It's tentative. It's not really, I mean, it's set, but it's not set. Everything, I'll change. The whole 2021 calendar changed throughout the year. So, I mean, whatever's set is not really set, but that is what we're looking at as of right now for 2022, 23 races. And we start off actually in Bahrain the last couple of years. Then we head over to Saudi Arabia. Then in April, we head on to Australia. So Australia is not the first race for the first time in a while. But we have Imola for the fourth race. Then we head to the brand new Miami track in early part of May. Then a couple of weeks later, we head to Barcelona in Spain. Then the Monte Carlo Grand Prix is right after that. Baku, Canada, Silverstone. Then head to Spa. I'm sorry, Austria. Then France, Hungary, then Spa. I'm sorry. Netherlands in September, and we have Monza, Russia, Singapore, Japan, right here in Austin, the United States Grand Prix, Mexico, Brazil, and in Abu Dhabi. Now, a couple things here, right quick. First off, Singapore and all here in Austin is tentative. Those are the only 2 races that are tentative right now. Everything is set. And also, Qatar is not going to be on 2022 calendar. They're going to be on the 2023 calendar.
I like it, and I don't know if you pointed this out, but there's 2 U.S. races.
Yeah. Well, it's just kind of odd that you go from Imola to Miami, then to Spain, Monte Carlo, Baku, back all the way to Canada, and then across the pond again to Silverstone. It's just one crazy schedule. I know props to FIA and F1 for filling all this in, but just it is, maybe 2023 you'll see Canada and Miami right next to each other. But this is, at least for the springtime, is one wild schedule.
That's a lot of packing up and moving for sure.
Yeah. And actually, our Twitter question of the week is going to be, is 23 races enough for the 2022 season? Mike, I know your thoughts on that. So we'll wait and see. But it's nice to see 23 races on the calendar itself. There's rumored it might even go up to 25 races. Because you don't see Turkey on there, and there's rumored that even Vietnam may even make a comeback. So we'll see about that. But to the point we made earlier, our special announcement is we're going to try to do this. It's not really said just yet. We're going to try to actually broadcast live during the Mexican Grand Prix, and so you get our takes on it. So I hate saying this, but lower down the announcers and turn us up. We'll be your announcers for the Mexican Grand Prix there. If everything works correctly. So hopefully it's not raining, so we'll have some good reception. But we're excited about this. That's going to be our first live broadcast, so we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Form of Racing. Make sure you vote on our Twitter question of the week. And also drop us a line, theformofracing@gmail.com. Give us a topic to like, and don't pay attention to Mike. We'll see how we got 5 races left. 5 races left in order to find out who the points leader is going to be. So we'll see about that. Also, check out our other videos right here on YouTube and everything. But in the meantime, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time right here on The Form of Racing.